Alright folks, so this is another Xiegu X6100 update, and I am your host, Steve, KM9G. This is going to be a very positive video. This display is absolutely gorgeous. I had to whip out the even fancier camera than I've been using all along here, and I wanted to just give you kind of an update. I mean, you can see the dust on the screen compared to the screen itself. And overall, this thing is just a fantastic display. The display is 800 by 480, and I don't have a size on it, but it looks like to be like a 5-inch-ish screen. Let me see what I got for measuring devices. I'm going to measure it like that. It is not millimeters. 3.5 inches wide, 3.25 inches wide, and it is hidden behind my camera, which makes this so much easier. I didn't want to zero that. Two inches tall. And so those of you that are mathing along by yourselves merrily at home, it is a 4-inch screen. So I was close. It's a 4-inch screen. The display on this thing is just absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to move my head so I can keep the reflection of the lights off the screen. At any rate, the display on this is just fantastic. If I go into radio settings, you can see that the cursor moves along when I pick that. And then there's a couple of really neat features here. So one of the things that you can do is, I don't know what this button here does, because that, who knows? But this button here is very interesting. So if I click that button, it now puts the display up there. So let me pick another one to show you that it does change. And now it's mic select. So let's go back in and do that and do transmit power. And where that comes in handy is I can take this knob over here, the MFK knob, and as I turn the knob, you can see transmit power is moving. And then when I turn it back, you can see that it's moving again. When you get down below 1 watt, you can start doing tenths of a watt. But in the owner's manual, it actually says to use with the XPA 125 amp to set it to 2.5. And you can see there ain't no way to set this thing to 2.5. So we are out at 10 watts. I have this thing plugged in to the power. And a quick pro tip is the 6100 will use the same power cord as the IC705. What I don't like about it so far is that this waterfall display cannot change in width. This is the width that you're going to get, period. You're always going to see this. I can't zoom in. So I don't know why, but I like when I'm running on WSJTX, you can see I'm on 707 something. Let's go to 7074. And then I'm going to hit the fast button to move it over to fast. I like to have that WSJTX thing spread out so I can see the individual signals in the waterfall instead of just the blob of 3 kilohertz there. Outside of that, everything's fine. Radio settings are good. Let's go back out of that menu. Display settings. I can change the RF fast Fourier transform average. I can change the RF fast Fourier transform reference. I can make these things up here on this menu so I can change it while I'm looking at the display. And you can see some of the lower signals pop up and then go away as I change that. I'm going to change that back down to 0. Let's see. Go into display settings. You can change the waterfall reference. You can change the AF fast Fourier transform average and reference. You can change the display brightness level. And let's change that up. And so that's 1. So it gets pretty dim. That should do some power savings for you and save your eyeballs in the middle of the night. It's dark mode. And if you push this lock button over here, let's get out of the menu. If you push the lock button, if you just tap it, you can see the display changing. Back into display settings, but it doesn't change when you're in the menu. So now that's it. If you want to lock, you actually press and hold the lock button, and now it's locked, and so now I can't change the frequency at all. So we'll press and hold the lock button to unlock it, and that lock button is in an awkward place because the VFO knob's in the way, but okay. The display tracks pretty good. The scope tracks pretty good with where you're moving to. Oh, I'm on upper sideband. Let's go back down to that signal that wasn't working before.
I would not want to live in Alberta. Back to you, Chuck.
I wouldn't want to live in Alberta either. I agree with you. Actually, I have no idea, but there you go. The display is extremely readable. If I go into app and I do, let's say, SWR scan, for example, this text is really tiny, but very, very easy on the eyes. Let's change the speed. And you can see this antenna is pretty good. And it is going from 0.6 something to 7.6 something. And you can see I've got a little bit of a dip right there, right in the 40 meter band. This is my DX Commander antenna. If I change the span to widen that out a bit, it's telling me that it's switching to 5,000, but I don't understand, because these numbers aren't changing. I don't understand what it's doing when it does that, other than changing the way that the graph looks. And if we switch back down to 1,000, it changes back up. Neat feature to have, but I'd rather have an antenna analyzer. Let's see. Modem. Modem gives you your software for decoding. It can decode BPSK, it can decode RIDI, it can decode CW, it can decode BPSK. So rate speed 31. Oh, there we go. PSK 31, 63, 125. And we've topped out. 63, 31, and we bottomed out. RIDI can do 45, whoops. 45, 50, 100, 150, 300, 70, I can't read that, 75, 56, I can't read that because I'm looking through the camera at the screen, so it's a little difficult for me. 45.45, 45, CW. CW can do different rates of CW decoding. I have not been able to get the CW decoder to work very well, but I also am just playing with it. We'll continue to do some more review videos as time goes by. Key, it took me out of the modem and then back up a level, and then I had to go back again to hit key. So key, you can switch between manual, auto right, auto left, manual, and there's a second page. So if I hit page 2, QSK time, DIT-DA ratio, CW trainer, that ought to be fun to play with. Go back to menu level 1, key speed 5 words per minute, iambic B, my tone level. Let's see, message is recordings. DFN is your noise reduction, and the noise reduction on this works really well. Let's turn some volume up. Let's find a signal.
You can fill up in the morning and then in the afternoon. I copy that.
So that's noise reduction off.
It was more that the existing Trans Mountain pipeline got shut down.
And on. That noise floor just went away.
Why the fuel rationing came into effect. I'm assuming that they just shut it down for preventative reasons.
Now, one thing I haven't seen is this NR depth. Let's go back to NR, turn that on. Go to NR depth.
And cause a breach in that line.
This doesn't seem to make any difference. It makes the waterfall jump a bit. But it doesn't really change what the guy's saying. And of course, as always in ham radio. Whenever you get right on a signal, it disappears. So then there's a second menu for DNF, and it says DFN, so I don't know why it says that, but DNF is off, on.
High standards in 1953.
So I'm not hearing the other side of this conversation. So yeah, you can see that when I change that. DFL is your filters, and you can change your passband.
Okay, Kilo Golf 6, Echo India Delta, is this Mr. Charles?
And there's a couple of presets. Let's switch that back to default. So there's filter 1 is 2700, filter 2 is 2400, filter 3 is 1800. Okay, so let's see. Any other menu choices that I want to do? Let's go back to general. And then memory edit. Like this text here is nice and crisp. Let's save the VFO. And then I want to tag it. And it brings up a little keyboard. And I can dial around for the keyboard. And I can say N E T T. Enter. Oh, and there's the X down in the corner. I was looking for the way to exit. Exit. So there's a net, and VFOA is 7279, and VFOB, so it actually saves both VFOs in there. And then mark it. Channel 1. Oh, mark it with the home. Alright, so let's erase that, because I don't know what that was. And it's not getting a lot of traffic on my side. But, I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at the display. I think this display is just gorgeous. This is, like, so far the best feature of the radio. And the only complaint that I have, and it's not even that big of a complaint, is that I can't change the width on the Waterfall. I can live with it. It does the thing. It works. This display looks better than the G90's display. So they've made a lot of improvements there. I haven't seen the GSOC in person. I can tell that the displays are different, but I can't tell you about the quality of this display versus the other displays. So just wanted to share that with you folks. There you go. I have another video right over there that I think you will like. Otherwise, thanks for being awesome. I had to get both thumbs in there. Give you 2 thumbs up.